Welcome back to the Sports Talk ATL podcast, home of your NL East champion Atlanta Braves and your first place Atlanta Falcons. I'm joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Lord. Guys, we needed a sweep going into the Mets series. I said we were going to sweep them. I said we were going to clinch at Truist Park. We didn't exactly clinch at Truist Park. The magic number was 1. We had to sweat it out against the Marlins in what was way too stressful for my liking. But at Truist Park, with all the chips on the line, with the best crowd in the baseball, the Braves are almost impossible to beat. They went 7-1 at home during last year's postseason, 55-26 during the regular season. It's hard to come and win a game there. I believed we could sweep them. We got the job done. These guys just perform under pressure like no Atlanta team in the history of my lifetime has ever performed. They're like the antithesis of everything we've grown up like here from. It's truly amazing, and it's just like, why would you ever doubt them? What have they shown you to doubt over the last 2 years?
Yeah, and Brian Snicker, I got to give him some credit. It felt like he was really pushing all the right buttons, especially yesterday with that stressful series against the Marlins. He got 5 good out of Odorizzi, and he said, let me go to my best guys in the bullpen. There were a couple sweaty moments, but the Braves offense just wasn't clicking, and he still found a way to win, especially, the bullpen coming and shutting things down. Kenley Jansen comes in on 4 of the past 5 days and gets 4 saves. There's guys that we've needed to step up at this time, and a lot of them have.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. Shout out Matt Olson, my dog, Matt Olson, who I've never doubted in the history of my life. Just such a great addition. I'm so glad we traded for him. He comes up with 3 homers. Dansby Swanson. These moments were made for Dansby Swanson. And this is why I say throughout the whole year, I've been like, you got to resign this man. You got to resign this man. You got to resign this man. He just it seems like he gets better and better as the year goes on. The brighter the lights, he's one of the best players in baseball. When you talk about shortstops, you have to put him up there within the top 5 easily. And I think you can argue with just about anyone outside of maybe Trey Turner. These guys showed up. Austin Riley showed up. He didn't show up against the Marlins, but he showed up against the Mets. The pitching, the bullpen, this bullpen, best bullpen in the majors. If you can get 5 innings out of your starters, you feel confident going to McHugh, Iglesias, Mentor, and Jansen. Even Jansen. Shout out Jansen. The guy's back. I wanted him off the damn team. Shout out Jansen.
Yeah, I got to say, I love Raisel Iglesias. I love what he's brought, but I think Kenley has definitely earned at least a little bit of a leash in the playoffs as a closer. But Raisel Iglesias has been incredible. That's definitely the pickup of the trade deadline. He has been absolutely shut down.
Oh, he's been unbelievable. I think he has a 0.25 ERA. And I don't think the Braves had some ridiculous trade deadline. It definitely wasn't like last year. We can speak a little bit on it. I don't want to talk about too much of the bad because there's too much good to talk about. But I don't ever have to see Robbie Grossman, play another game in a Braves uniform. Like Rosario, even Ozuna, should be in the lineup over him. He is what he is. He's a barely over 200 batting average. He had a few good homers for us, but I'm ready to see him out of the lineup. But Iglesias, unbelievable. I don't care if he's closing. He'll be the closer next year when Jansen's gone. But this bullpen, it's a weapon. It is an absolute weapon.
He has a 0.34 ERA with the Braves, and I'm pretty sure that was one of his first games when he gave up those runs.
Tyler Matzik has been relegated to mop-up duty. This guy was the MVP of our playoff run out of the bullpen last year, and now he's a mop-up guy. He's like our Drew Smiley out of the bullpen. And if you look at Matzik's stats, yeah, he doesn't look as dominant with the fastball. His velocity is down a little bit, but I'm pretty sure he has a 3 or sub-3 ERA on the season. He's been really good. It's Jesse Chavez, really good. That is the key to this team, I think. And the pitching this year is just all around so much better. And I think the lineup's the same. We're so much better than we were last year, and I think we got a great chance of repeating.
Yeah, I do too. I really like the chances. Obviously, the Dodgers are a good team, but I think if Spencer Strider's back, I think we have the edge on him with starting pitching. We've shown we can handle the Mets.
Yeah, I was
worries
watching.
me the most is honestly the Cardinals. When you look at St. Louis, they just got that voodoo devil magic about them, and it's worrisome. And that's something that we're gonna have to take into consideration. And they always show up in the playoffs as Wino and Yachty and Pujols' last hurrah. It feels like a year that the Cardinals could win a World Series, and I just hope that's not the case because I really hate them.
I agree. We just lost Alex there. But dude, I agree on the Cardinals. I'm not even gonna lie. And this is more about the Dodgers than anything. And I know everyone's gonna look, 110 wins, listen, guys. The Dodgers, one, aren't playing their best playoff baseball coming into the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost in the NLDS to the Mets. They lost Walker Buehler. Their bullpen's got some question marks. There has never been a 110-win team with this many holes in it. And I guarantee you the Braves are a better team. I feel very confident in a 7-game series against the Dodgers, more confident than I did last year by a large margin. I don't care that they won 110 games. They always win a lot of regular season games, and they always can't finish. I was listening to Will Middlebrooks and some other guy at CBS Sports. They both picked the Braves to go to the World Series, and they both picked the Braves to win. I think they had Braves over the Astros and Braves over the Blue Jays. So people are starting to realize this team went 77-33 over their last 110 games. They faced the 3 best pitchers on the Mets and took them to the barn shed. The Mets got a lead in every game, and the Braves won by at least 2 runs in every game.
Did not get swept in a single series this year. That's impressive.
But I agree with you on the Cardinals. I want the Cardinals because I hate the Cardinals, and I think we're better than the Cardinals, but they are an annoying-ass team in the playoffs. They just are. They're a scrappy bunch. They know how to win. They've got that veteran leadership. I could see Adam Wainwright in year 38, whatever the hell he is, tossing a seven innings of 1-run ball because it's just who he is. He was built to do that. I could see Yachty having an annoying opposite field dribbler to walk off a game. And obviously you have Arenado and Goldsmith, which are really the only 2 guys I think are legit. Pujols, who knows? This guy's hitting he's in his prime again. So I agree, but I think the Cardinals in a 5-game series scare me more than the Dodgers in a 7-game series because I just like that 7-game series more.
Yeah, and you look at St. Louis. They don't have exactly a great matchup with Philly because they're going to have to go through Nola and Wheeler in 2 of those games, and they'll have home field advantage, but that's not something you really want to face in a 2 or 3 because either of those guys is prone to throw a shutout at any time.
Yeah, especially when you don't have the offense that like the Braves do. There's only 3 or 4 deep in that lineup. But I will say St. Louis, that bullpen they have, everyone comes out and throws 103. Their starting pitching's been really good. They don't have the stars. They don't have the Max Frieds and the Spencer Striders and the Nola and Wheelers. But their pitching staff is absolutely fantastic. It's up there with anybody in the league. So I expect the Cards to come out of that series. But in a 3-game series, when you have Nola and Wheeler on the mound, yeah.
I'm all right.
Who would you rather have?
Who would you rather see?
The Phillies?
I'd rather have the Phillies because I feel way more confident. The Cardinals have that voodoo magic. Fat man, old man Albert Pujols is going to hit 3 home runs in the wild card. He's definitely cheating. But yeah, Phillies. It's a way easier series.
I feel like the Phillies are, in terms of roster talent, are way better than the Cardinals. But the Cardinals just have that. They got that stink on them. That playoff stink.
I don't think they are.
If Nola
I don't
and
think they are
Wheeler
because
pitch,
the Cardinals pitching,
listen,
the Cardinals bullpen is so much. The Phillies bullpen is like me and you out there, Jake. It's like tossing plumbers out there. So and honestly, after Nola and Wheeler, Suarez he's pitched really well over the last half. But does Ranger Suarez in the playoffs scare you one damn bit? You bring that little. That's like Anibal Sanchez in the playoffs. It's a cute idea, but you bring that slow shit in with all the chips on the line where the at-bats start to mean a little bit more. I don't see him making it out of the 6th inning.
To that point, though, Nola and Wheeler will be, not rested. They won't be able to go 1 and 2. So that's a huge thing. And we could just get them out there early, sweep them 3 games.
Yeah, I think Philly's a sweep, especially with that point that you said with Nola and Wheeler not being able to go in the first games. I think that's so critical. There's so many advantages that the Braves got by winning this division. You get the bye. You get to set up your rotation while they don't. You don't have to play the Dodgers until the NLCS. Honestly, I think the not avoiding the Mets too in the first round. I would much rather play the Phillies or Cardinals than I would the Mets. So and then you get extra rest for Spencer Strider, who I think really is the key to this championship run. He's lights. He's dominant. He is a guy.
That was the next thing out of my mouth. You got to get Strider healthy. That's the biggest thing you got out of this.
Yeah, and I hope to God that because obliques are so damn weird, and he's about to start throwing off a mound. I just hope we get a report in the next couple of days, hey, he threw, no pain. Hope he's starting game 2 or even if you want to give him an extra couple of days of rest, game 3. I don't care what he's doing. He's only going to pitch once in the NLDS, but I just think if you have him, he's the difference. He makes this team go from really tough to beat to damn near unbeatable. Because it's just so much. Yeah.
I would argue 3 of the top 4 teams in the NL are on the other side of the bracket: Padres, Mets, Dodgers, and I mean we get to miss all 3 of them. So, well, until the CS. So that's huge. That's another huge thing that you just kind of said. But all 3 of them are top 4 teams in my opinion.
Can we talk about the American League just for a second? Just because
They suck.
That league is.
The Guardians are the 3 seed. That is nuts.
I mean, I guess I will say I like the Blue Jays and Mariners. Like, those are some tough, scrappy, young teams that I like. So I'm not going to say they all suck, but, like, the Yankees are garbage. Like, they're getting bounced in the first, like, they're getting
the
bounced.
Astros absolutely own them. Like, the Astros are, like, just absolutely crush the Yankees.
But I don't even think they get that. I don't think they get that far. The only thing the Yankees have working for them is they play either the Guardians or the Rays. But, like, I think if they play the Rays, they're losing that series.
I could see it. I love Seattle and Toronto. I hope it's one of those teams. Number one, because we should be able to handle them, except the Blue Jays absolutely spanked our ass in 2020 6-0. But I love both of those teams. They'd be fun teams to play.
Yeah, and Toronto, I mean, you want to talk about great atmospheres? Toronto and Seattle. I mean, that Seattle series we played out there, unbelievable. The Blue Jays, they're hungry. They always have the Rogers Center's always bumping. Obviously, Truist Park would be bumping. It would just be a great. I mean, to be fair, like the Astros, like you can tell there's like fan fatigue there. Like they've been there, like they've won a World Series. They've been there, you know, in it like 3 different times. Like they've been to every ALC, like 5 straight ALCSs or some shit like that. Like those tickets to the it was cheaper last year to fly to Houston and buy tickets, and it was like $1,000 cheaper to fly to Houston and buy a World Series ticket in Houston than try to go and drive to Truist Park and pay $1,500 or whatever. Like you could get lower level seats for like $300-400 at the World Series in Houston. But so I would love to have that matchup just from a fan perspective. I think the Yankees would be cool. I don't think they'll make it, but that fan base is, I mean, they haven't been back in 13, 14 years, which is like a millennium for them.
Yeah. You got to give credit to the Astros too, because they've lost Correa, they've lost Springer, they lost Garrett Cole, they just keep churning out 1 seeds. You got to show them some respect.
Yeah, Justin Verlander hasn't lost a step. Dude is
Justin Verlander has gotten pulled out of a no-hitter in 3 of his last 6 starts. That is insane.
That's unreal. He is so dirty. He's like 40 or 38.
Yeah, he's like 38 or 39.
Well, him and Scherzer are just like they have something. They're doing something. They got.
I still wish we had got Verlander, man. Could you imagine if we got?
I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, like people forget that the Braves like made a run at Verlander, and I mean, could you imagine? I mean, he would be our 5th starter, like that, or like I don't know what they would have done.
He would not be our 5th starter, but
no, I'm talking about like he would have rounded out the rotation that we have currently today. They might have kept Strider. I don't know what they would have done with Strider. They probably wouldn't even ever put him in the rotation, but who knows? It would have just been stupid. You would have had all these weapons. It would have been unbelievable. And God, yeah, Verlander's great. It's good to see because I like Verlander a lot. And Kate Upton is an absolute beauty.
Speaking of fantasies, that Seattle series would be sick. The 3 best rookies in baseball in the World Series. That would be unreal.
Yeah, I love Julio Rodriguez, and he was the more hyped prospect, but like it's kind of crazy that like Michael Harris has been like better than him, like just like,
he has been
this year. Yeah,
it's marginal, but he has been better.
Yeah, I know. But it's crazy because like I mean, obviously Julio was in the home run derby. He was like the top prospect in baseball. Like he's been amazing. He's lived up to the billing. But like it's just a testament to what Michael Harris has done this season. Like no one like we all loved Michael Harris as a prospect. We all wanted to see him. No, not a single person. As a Braves fan, Alex Anthopoulos was talking about it yesterday. Like he was like, dude, if you had told me we were going to sign him to an $80 million contract, he was going to hit 300. We knew he'd play good defense, but we had no idea that he would do something like this. I mean, the guy's like 20 for 21 in stolen bases. Like what he's done has been unreal.
He's leading the league in batting average with runners in scoring position. Leading the league, or maybe he might not be anymore, but at one point in the past week or so, he was. That's unreal.
So that's a good transition to my next point. He's leading the league with batters and runners in scoring position. Why the fuck is he sack bunting? Why the fuck is he sack bunting? We don't bunt here. I say it on Twitter at least 50 times a year. There's no bunting on this team. And I can't believe we actually have a sack bunt now. I wanted that record. 0 sack bunts. Then you could literally say, we don't give a fuck, no bunting.
Didn't get swept in no sack bunts. That would have been such a sick season.
Yeah, 100 wins. That I think we have the fourth most wins of any defending champions. 101. Fourth most wins. I mean, dude, it's actually crazy. Like, and I feel like just editing the articles that we've written and writing them, like how many times like I've written an article, it's almost like weekly. Like, oh, Braves break another record. Braves rookie breaks strikeout record. Braves 2020. Braves have 8 guys with 15 plus homers. Like Braves.
You got
records,
Morton and Strider
attendance
both get 200
records.
strikeouts. Strider breaking Randy Johnson's record.
I don't think there's ever been a year where there's been this many records broken. Like I mean, not from my perspective.
Let's is that all y'all got on Braves? Because I'm kind of excited to talk about the Falcons.
Yeah,
First time in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we got two first place teams, guys.
Let's talk about that white flag when Strider went on the IL. I mean, when Chase texted that to us, I seriously was so depressed. I thought 100% sure. Even driving to Truist Friday night for the Mets game, first game of the series, I was not that confident. And I'll give Chase his praise, the cockiest Braves fan in Braves country, and the douchiest one, that's for sure. But he never stopped believing. He seriously never stopped believing. And he's, that Guillermo Heredia, be cocky all the time. I mean, Chase is really that dude. And I'll give you your cheers because you really said it the whole year.
Well, but I will say that moment when Strider went down and we still had 2 games left against the Phillies and they had 2 games left against the A's and they were only 2.5 and they were already 2.5 games up before we had to play them. That was the only moment I thought we weren't going to win it. That was the only moment because I didn't think we were going to win both games against the Phillies. Just we had lost 2 in a row. I didn't think it was impossible, but we basically had to win the next 5 in a row against the Phillies and Mets. I thought if we could get it to where we just had to sweep the Mets, I felt confident because I know how hard it is to win at Truist Park. I don't care who you have pitching. But when it got to where, we have to win 5 in a row and they're playing the A's, like they're probably not going to lose the game, I was like, yeah, we're probably fucked, boys. But it's just a testament to this group, man. It's the gutsiest team in baseball, and they keep showing it time and time again. So there's a reason why I'm cocky every fucking year. We do it every year. At a certain point, we turn on the Jets, and it's like, and when you talk about the division, like you have to beat us, and it's hard to do.
I want to know some of the odds that people got the Braves down. I mean, 10.5 games. It must have been.
No, so it was 6-1. I remember because I was in Austin and I was at the airport and I was watching and I wasn't really gambling because I usually only gamble during football season, so I wasn't really gambling. But I looked at it and I texted Turner and I was like, a good bet right now is taking the Braves to win the division. Like these are the best odds you're ever going to get, and like at the end of the day, I just don't believe in the Mets. Now the Mets turned out to be better than I thought they were. There's no question about it. I did not think they'd win 100 games. I thought eventually they'd lose 8 out of 10, 9 out of 11, something like that. They turned out better, so respect to them. It's just like the Braves went nuclear. They went fucking nuts.
This is going to be an unreal rivalry. I mean, obviously the Braves organizationally are just outstanding, constantly pulling up prospects. We've got our entire core locked up for the next decade. And Steve Cohen on the other side is going to have a $400 million payroll next year. I mean, this guy will spend money, and I love it. It's going to be a great rivalry for the next, probably half decade.
And here's the last thing I'll say, going just on that point, and then we can talk about the Falcons. One, I do agree the Mets are going to spend a ton of money, but like their payroll is already like the top of the league. And like DeGrom's a free agent. Nemo's a free agent. Pete Alonso's arbitration starts to rise. Who else? Edwin Diaz. Like you're like, as much as like he's going to spend as much money, like he's also a businessman. Like I do question at what point, like when the luxury task is making you pay $400 or $500 million, like at what point do you like stop spending? So I am interested. I know he has all the money in the world, but like at what point do you say, hey, we need to like be better allocating our dollars and stuff like that instead of stuff, but we'll see. I mean, I think they'll be in the Judge sweepstakes, but I think the Braves are going to. I mean, I think the Braves are going to have the first time in their franchise history over a $200 million payroll next year. I'm very confident in that. So, Alex Anthopoulos kept thanking the Braves for being able to make these signings after the game yesterday. So, it's going to be an amazing rivalry. These are going to be two of the best teams in the National League for years to come. And I'm excited because it's fun to have competition. This was fun. Like, this year was fucking fun. It was nerve-wracking. It was sweaty, but it's going to make both of these teams ready for the playoffs. I'm telling you, this shit helps going into the postseason because we've been playing playoff games for the last month. But speaking of a team that will also be in the playoffs, I got the Falcons making the playoffs. I'm already saying it. I brought it up last week. It sounded kind of dumb, but I'm a believer now. We looked at the schedule, and we worst-case scenarioed it, Alex, after we beat the Browns. And we came up with 7-10. That was worst-case scenario. We have the.
I still like 7-10. I said that before the season.
So you're just saying worst-case scenario. So you're a worst-case scenario guy now. That's what I'm hearing.
No, that was preseason.
But I'm telling you, if you look at the schedule, which we were like, and this is why you could never look at NFL schedules before the season, because you never really know how good these teams. And now you look at them and you're like, dude, these teams kind of suck. Like the Cardinals, the Steelers, like the Panthers twice. The Saints aren't very good. Like you start like, yeah, you could win a lot of games here.
Yeah, the Bucs still control the division from where I sit and from where everybody sits. But Tom Brady's been struggling. I saw some stuff on how Gisele's a voodoo witch and she's been cursing Tom Brady this year. So maybe, I don't know, this could be the Falcons' years to worst to first, or we're third last year. But still, I mean, even if we don't make the playoffs, this is just so encouraging for Falcons fans. I mean, they
aren't a drag to watch like last year.
Yeah, it seems like we're actually going in the right direction, which is just such a relief. I've seriously been writing about Falcons losers for the fucking past 4 years, and it's just depressing. It's annoying to wake up every Monday and try.
Oh, we lost him again. We'll pick up.
He was doing so well.
I
agree, man. It's not fun to talk about losers. Nobody wants to talk about losers. And I think, as much as I kind of get annoyed by Arthur Smith, sometimes he does deserve some credit here, especially because, you know, he has done a lot with not that much. Like Caleb McGarry looks much better. I think a lot of that is on McGarry. Chris Lindstrom's been fantastic. You know, we talked about Dwayne Ledford as being an impact coach whenever the staff first got together. And, you know, Cordell Patterson's one of the best running backs in the league. You know, hopefully he gets healthy soon. You know, this team's not bad. Like, the whole worst roster in the league thing, I never bought into. I never thought they have way too many good pieces to be the worst roster in the league. You want to talk about the worst roster in the league, that's probably like Chicago. Worst rosters in the league don't have a top tight end, top receiver, top corner, top defensive tackle, you know, and young pieces like that.
Very good running back. You know, dude, I like this team, man. And like, we're going to Baton Rouge to watch the LSU game. Me and Alex this upcoming weekend. Go Tigers! But Alex, you know, like he scheduled his flight like for during the Falcons game, and he didn't realize it, and he was like pissed. And I was like, I don't think you would have gotten that reaction last year. Like that, it'd have been like, fuck it, I'm just missing the Falcons game. Like I'll look up how he did. Now it's like, damn, I'm missing the Falcons and the Bucs. Like, I never would have really cared about that game last year. Now it's like, damn, I'm missing that game. Like this is a big game. Like I think we can win it. I really do. Like I've watched the Bucs every game this season, and their defense is good. But the Falcons, man, they can run the ball, and they've proven they can run the ball at will against almost anyone. And if Marcus Mariota can stop being a damn doormat and stop making mistakes, like you're gonna win fucking games with this team, man. And if he can turn it around just a little and become like slightly above average or just average, like you're going to win a lot of games being able to run the football. And I think this defense is only going to get better with all these young pieces.
I think if they have – go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
I will say this is definitely the toughest task, the Bucs defense, and it is not good. It is great defense. It's top 5 in the league. We did run all over the Browns, but they were missing Myles Garrett, arguably the best defender in the league, and Jadeveon Clowney. The Rams defense isn't nearly as good as we thought. The Saints defense is still pretty good. But, you know, to that point, this is what Arthur Smith and this offensive line want. They want to prove it. And I have faith in them. I don't think they're going to run for 200 yards by any means, but I still think that they could be successful on the ground and set up that play action game that's been working so well for us. But I agree with you. It's at some point this season, it's going to come down to Marcus Mariota not being, you know, what he's been his entire career. And nobody should be surprised when he fails. But it's going to be on him to make a few plays, and late in the game and not have these costly turnovers. It's not about the run game because this Bucs game is going to be close. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're within one score late in the game and Marcus Mariota's got to take us down the field to tie it or to win it, and he fails. So it's going to be more on him than anybody, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if he has a bad game this week, I think you really start thinking about turning to Desmond Ridder to see what you have.
I was just about to ask that. At what point are we talking about bringing Ridder?
Another game when he completes 7 passes and they don't win.
Well, I'll say this. Most people argue that you don't want to throw a rookie into a shitty situation, but the Falcons they have a good offensive line. They're one of the best pass protecting units in the league. They're creating the most yards before contact in the run game. He's got weapons. Drake London's the best rookie receiver, arguably. Kyle Pitts is still there. Cordero Patterson's one of the best weapons in the NFL. I know he's on the IR, but still, if not now, then when? When is going to be the point?
That's what I said. I said if he can't fucking take over for Marcus Mariota this year, and he keeps playing like this, and you keep running the ball well, you're protecting your quarterback. Then what do we got here? We basically have nothing, in my opinion. Like, you're just telling me like this guy is not a very good quarterback.
Arthur Smith is telling you. He's telling you how he felt with that sound clip that has been circulating across social media. We're going to run the damn piss out of the ball. He was tired of seeing Mariota just drop back and throw ducks out there. I mean, he saw it, we saw it, and now it's just confirmed. I mean, he doesn't have that faith in Marcus Mariota, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I would rather watch a rookie struggle than an 8-year veteran struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it comes down to, and it's like, and I always say about quarterbacks, like, and some people don't agree with this, but if you throw a guy, and maybe if you throw him into an absolute dog shit situation, but this isn't a dog shit situation, or we just said, if he comes in and struggles and mentally, becomes a mental midget, like, bro, he was never going to make it in this league. You were never going to be a good quarterback if you can't not only maybe not succeed, but find a way to win games and keep your confidence up and do stuff like that when you have good pieces around you. So I understand you've won 2 games in a row. Maybe now is not the time to make a switch, but hey, if you go out there and get roundhouse kicked by the Bucs, and your defense actually plays pretty good, but you just your run game doesn't work because they have a great run defense and you can't make any passes. Like, what are we doing here?
I agree.
Yeah, I would even argue still that Marcus Mariota is going to be better just purely based on the experience factor, not the actual arm talent, but the experience factor. He's just seen more from NFL defenses, and that certainly plays a part. But there comes a time where you just got to grip it and rip it. Brett Favre just fucking fuck it and chuck it. And Kyle Pitts is the perfect example of this, and I'll continue to go back to this. If he's in one-on-one coverage, just throw it up to him. There's a 60-40 chance that he comes down with it.
But Mariota is not just we've seen him miss receivers left and right. I mean, yeah, he only threw 7 passes last week, but I mean, there was a couple times, where he missed just wide open, deep balls and stuff like that. And he's really not targeting Kyle Pitts like he should, throwing up 60-40 balls. And I think you can say the same thing about Drake London. Drake London's gotten a lot of separation and stuff, but you got 2 big boy receivers, and I haven't seen many hey, you got one-on-one coverage, throw it up to this guy. It's there's no confidence in doing that.
Yeah, he missed Kadero Hodge on a skinny post. He threw it not close enough to the middle of the field and led him back into the defender. I mean, right there, that's 2 touchdowns off the top of my head that he's missed where, that Kyle Pitts opening play against Seattle where he just completely overthrew it. It's incredible how you can overthrow a 4-4 guy. I mean.
And if Desmond Ridder can show you something, man, him, Algier, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, that's a really nice young core you can actually build around.
Yeah, speaking of Algier, I mean, he came in and performed admirably. Him and Caleb Huntley are going to carry the load while Patterson's on the IR. And, nobody knows who these guys are. I've watched plenty of sports talk shows who are blah, blah, blah. Who are these guys? BYU, who are these guys? And to be quite honest, in the NFL, being a running back is 80% offensive line. That other 20% that really separates you from the pack, It really doesn't matter. And they might not be those top 10 back guys, but if the Falcons offensive line keeps doing what they're doing, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter who's running back there. Anybody can run. They're creating the most yards before contact in the league. If you told me that in the offseason, I mean,
I like Algier. I think he's going to be a good running back. Like, okay, maybe not top 10 guy, but I mean, he runs hard and he's a bruiser and he's Arthur Smith's type of back. And like you said, I mean, the way this offensive line is creating space, like, me and you could run through some of these holes, and get 4 or 5 yards. They're bullying boys. They're bullying boys. So I really, as much as I love Patterson and think he's a leader on this team and love the energy he brings, I think that's going to be missed. And I definitely think he's better than these guys at this point in their career. But I don't think that's a huge loss like a lot of people do. Like, I think this offensive line is going to push people around no matter what. And these running backs are going to hit the holes. And yeah, maybe you lose a little bit, but it's not like night and day. There's a lot worse. It'd be way worse to lose a guy on that offensive line like Chris Lindstrom or Caleb McGarry or something like that. That'd be a way bigger loss.
Yeah, to that point. I mean, Caleb McGarry has been playing out of his mind. This guy has not played like this. And it might be, the contract year thing where he didn't have his 5th-year contract picked up. Chris Lindstrom did. He's out to prove something. Or maybe this is the guy who he is. I really don't know, but he has completely turned it around. Drew Dahlman and Elijah Wilkinson, just 2 position changes along the offensive line, has basically changed that unit from worst to first, which is unreal how that it could be that bad. But it was. It really was. Jalen Mayfield's time in the NFL, I mean, you never want to give up on a young guy too early, but Elijah Wilkinson is just an average guy. He really is. I mean, if you put in a Pro Bowl level guard on the opposite side of Chris Lindstrom, this team immediately becomes, those Titan offenses from Arthur Smith 2019, 2020. I mean, it really is amazing.
And we're playing bully ball. It's not just the offensive line. Like, you see Kyle Pitts in there blocking. You see Drake London blocking the hell out of it. Like, it's like a full commitment from the entire team. And I think that's another big reason why they went with London, because Arthur Smith knew what he wanted. He wants these big guys that can block as well as they can do other things. And like, the commitment to run the ball and the way they've done it so effectively, like, kudos to Arthur Smith. He's obviously made some mistakes in his first 2 years. Like, we've gotten on him for that. But like, listen, this was always going to be a long process. And I don't think anyone saw us being this quality this early. I don't think anyone did.
Yep.
Yeah. If you want to go on the other side of the ball and, give some praise out. I mean, Taquan Graham is already a guy. He's already a guy. He's a dude. Next to Grady Jarrett, he looks unbelievable. This was his best game as a pro, bar none. He was showing up in his pass rush against the run. He was all over the field, constantly beating one of the best offensive lines in football in the Cleveland Browns. Joe Bonito is one of the best guards in football. It was so
Grady
impressive.
Jarrett's a freak, bro. Grady Jarrett has been like Aaron Donald in the first 4 weeks. Like, maybe not quite that good, but I mean, he's been as good as any defensive tackle in football. I mean, he is beating people up. He is beating people up. Mercedes-Benz has some life. I can't wait to go to a game. I mean, this is a different unit. This is a different group. It's exciting, and I expect them to compete this week. So let's talk about this week. Let's go back to the Braves and get some predictions here. Next time we're going to be on here, we're going to be looking at our NLDS opponent. Who do you think it's going to be, the Phillies or the Cardinals?
I think it's going to be the Cardinals. Yeah, I agree with Jake. I want it to be the Phillies, but it'll probably be the Cardinals.
I think it'll be the Cardinals too. I just think they have a better pitching staff. I like Nolan, and yeah, I mean, it's hard to see them losing, but hey, who knows? Phillies could win. I think I'm with you there. It's a sweep. And let's get a Falcons prediction in and how they do it. I'm going out on the limb. I'm going to go out on the limb. I'm going to say they win the game. 24-20. Mariota steps up. Kyle Pitts has a big game. I think they're going to have to beat them through the air. I think the Bucs know what the Falcons are going to do. I think the Bucs have the pieces to stop them on the ground. But if there's a place where you can beat them sometimes through the air, I think if Mariota can step up, I think the Falcons can slow down Tom Brady, who just hasn't looked that good. I do think there's distractions in his life. He's been away from the team forever. I do think at a certain point the Bucs will click, but so far it hasn't happened. So I'm going to say they get it done. I don't think we finish in first place, but for 1 week, we're going to be in first place.
This is the first week I have not felt confident. And if you've been reading the gambling pieces I've been doing, I'm 4-0. I bet on the Falcons to cover each week, and I do not think it changes this week. I do think the Falcons cover. But like I said earlier in the show, I think it comes down to a last-minute drive, and Marcus Mariota comes up short, and it really starts to stir the pot with that Desmond Ridder stuff.
So you took the words out of my mouth, Alex. That's exactly what I was going to say. I think they cover the spread. I think this game goes under too. I think this is an ugly game. I think this is one you don't want to watch.
I think that like a 20-14 score is about right. Still cover, but Marcus Mariota just isn't that guy.
All right, Jake, what you like that too?
Yeah, that's pretty much word for word what I got. I think the Falcons do cover. But I'm talking real nasty. I'm talking like 12-9 or something like that. This one could be a really nasty game.
Oh God!
I think this one could get really just filthy.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I think it would be interesting to see the Falcons defense play like that, though. There would at least be another positive we could take that. But yeah, hopefully we come back here. I mean, we'll come back. Let's come back early next week and talk the NLDS, like preview that, and hopefully talk a Falcons win. Hopefully be in first place in both things. You never know. I'm starting to feel confident. But that wraps it up for this episode of the Sports Talk ATL podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back Monday next week.